the book of Genesis chapter 15 verse 13, 14, 15 and 16. But we'll leave out 15 because 15 do not tie into what we have to discuss today. So let us go. Then said he to Abraham, know for a certain that your descendants will be strangers in a land that is not theirs, and will serve them, and will be afflicted by them for 400 years. And also the nation whom they have served I will judge. Afterwards they shall come out with great possession. Verse 16, but in the fourth generation shall they return here, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not completed. People, today we are going to discuss the topic, the curse has been broken. Prepare for repatriation. We have just read Genesis chapter 15 verse 13, 14 and 16. And this was the Mosai speaking to Abraham. Abraham was in a case where he had amassed great wealth, but he didn't have any children to whom he must leave his wealth to. Abraham was approached by the Most High in a vision, and Abraham questioned the Most High. Whom am I going to leave this wealth that you have given me to? And the Most High said to Abraham that I am going to give you a son of your own loins. But remember this, when you go down to verse 15, 13, it says, Abraham, your children, your descendants will be strangers in a land that is not theirs. They will serve them and they will be afflicted by them for 400 years. And the nation who they serve, I, the God of creation, will judge. And after that, they shall come out of that nation with great possession. But in the fourth generation, they shall return here, for the iniquity of the Amorites has not yet completed. People, this is a prophecy that was given to Abraham by the Most High as it relates to the children of Israel. From previous study we have concluded, using the Bible, we have concluded that the children of Israel in this modern day are the descendants of the children of the transatlantic slave trade. So if your foreparents was a slave in the 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th century, then you are the direct descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Right? So the Most High is saying that they're going to serve the people who have taken them captive for 400 years. But after the 400 years has completed, I am going to judge them. And afterwards, they are going to come out of her with great possession. But this is what he says in verse 16. But in the fourth generation, they shall return here, for the iniquity of the Amorite is not yet completed. So what the Mosai is saying, after they have served 400 years, the curse is going to be lifted. And I am going to judge the nation that enslave my people. And I'm going to bring them out of her with great possession. But not until the curse of the Amorite has been completed. So, from 4 generations to the end of the curse is when we are going to go back to Israel. This prophecy that the Most High gave to Abraham, which is recorded in Genesis chapter 15, verse 13 to 16, was later elaborated on by the Most High to Moses, and this elaboration of the prophecy can be found in Deuteronomy chapter 28, 15 to 68. And in this, it gives you greater details that qualify and confirm descendants of the children of the transatlantic slave trade are actually the direct descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And we are who the Most High was speaking about when he spoke to Abraham in Genesis chapter 15, 13, 14, and 16. In previous study, we have also shown you that the enslavement of the Israelites in Egypt did not amount up to 400 years, because briefly the Israelites went into Egypt when Jacob, the Israelites went into Egypt when Jacob went into Egypt with his possession as a free man. Right? And the slavery didn't start. The slavery of the Israelite did not start until the slavery of the Israelite did not start until all of the patriots of the Israelite, that means all of Jacob's sons, would have died. Right? So although Israel were in Egypt for 430 years, they were not slaves for 430 years. Right? The curse has been broken, my people. Let us do the math, right? A historian by the name of Dr. Akim Adi wrote a piece called Africa, the Transatlantic Slave Trade. Africa, the Transatlantic Slave Trade. And this is what he had to say in it. The Transatlantic Slave Trade began during the 15th century when Portugal and subsequently other European kingdoms were finally able to expand overseas and reach Africa. The Portuguese first began the kidnapping of people from the west coast of Africa and take those they enslaved back to Europe. Now let us go to another section. After Europe discovered the Americas, the American continent, the demand for African labor gradually grew as other source of labor became insufficient. Now this is what I wanted to pay attention to. The Spanish took the first African captive to the Americas from Europe as early as 1503. But by 1518, the first captive were directly shipped from Africa to the Americas. We can conclude from this. In 1518, the transatlantic slave trade officially began. So if we can conclude, as the historian have said, that the transatlantic slave trade began in 1518, and the Most High said that Abraham's child descendants are going to be slaves in a land that is not theirs for 400 years. Right? We can conclude that from 1518, so let us see, 1518, 1618, 1718, 1918, 2018 is 400 years. So, people, this is time for the Israelites all over the globe to rejoice. 2018 have marked 400 years of slavery of the Israelites in this world. And according to Genesis chapter 15, 13, 14, and 16, it says that the descendants of Abraham are going to be slaves in a strange land for 400 years. For 400 years. And after that, the Most High is going to judge that nation. And after the judgment, we are going to come out of those nations with great possession. But guess what? Not until the fourth generation. People, it is important to understand this.